European Union foreign ministers on Monday gave the green light to a new raft of sanctions against Russia which are entering force on the third anniversary of its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. According to Associated Press, among the latest sanctions endorsed on Monday are measures targeting Russia's so-called shadow fleet of ships that it exploits to skirt restrictions on transporting oil and gas, or to carry stolen Ukrainian grain. The EU said 74 vessels were added to its list. Asset freezes and travel bans were imposed on 83 officials and entities, usually government agencies, banks or companies. More than 2,300 officials and entities have been hit since Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered his troops into Ukraine 3 years ago. Putin and several of his associates are among them. The new measures, which were prepared by EU envoys and agreed in detail last week, were announced as the EU stands sidelined from US-led talks to end the war. The 3-year mark of the war in Ukraine came at a sensitive moment for Kyiv as Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky navigates a rapidly changing international environment upended by US President Donald Trump's changes to the US approach to the war. The US leader has sought to follow through on his campaign promises to end the war quickly, though his methods for doing so have alarmed many in Ukraine and Europe who believe that his approach is too conciliatory toward Russia and its president, Vladimir Putin. Leaders across the EU, fearing both that Trump's approach to Ukraine would lead to an unfavorable settlement for Kiev and that they, among Ukraine's most important supporters, would be sidelined in negotiation for peace, have rushed to assert their own response to the rapidly shifting environment. Finnish Foreign Minister Alina Valtonen said there is no possibility whatsoever for any other country to negotiate a peace deal on Europe's behalf.
Today we mark the 3 years anniversary of Putin's full-fledged illegal war, and we want to send the signal of solidarity. It's time to step up. There's a lot of discussion going on about a post-war plan, etc. But we think the most important thing right now is to step up and give Ukraine strength so that they will have the strongest possible position whenever time is for peace negotiations. Normally we do these doorsteps individually.
We have 300 billion euros worth Russian frozen assets in Europe, and we need to use them. So we all support it, that we need to make a decision and use them. So we can replace as well US support if US is still going to decide not to support Ukraine anymore. So we need to give Ukraine an opportunity to decide to fight for their freedom, if there is a need for that.
It was Putin who started this war, and he could also end it any day. And a negotiation has to be with Ukraine at the table. There is not going to be anything about Ukraine without Ukraine. And this is also about European security. And because it is about future European security, then Europe also has to be in.
There's no possibility whatsoever for any other country to negotiate on our behalf. Our message towards the Americans is that we would like, the very deep and good transatlantic partnership to continue. And of course, and this has been the Finnish position all along, Europe needs to be ramping up its own deterrence and defense. But it just doesn't happen overnight, and we need partners and friends in this endeavor where we are effectively defending ourselves against autocracy and against very dark forces in the world.
I really welcome the opportunity today for the European Union to have a dialogue with Israel. I and indeed Ireland have been calling for this for a very significant period of time. It does give us an opportunity to raise a number of very important and pressing issues, including the ceasefire, ensuring the full implementation of the ceasefire, and also making it very clear that the European Union's position is very much in favour of a two-state solution. There may be elements of difference of opinion on various aspects of the Middle East amongst EU member states, but there's a number of things we do agree on. We agree on the need for a two-state solution. We agree on the need for more humanitarian aid. We agree on the importance of international law and human rights, and I'm very encouraged that in the engagement we've had across EU member states in recent days in preparation for this meeting, the common ground that has been found, identified and articulated in relation to those areas.
President Vladimir Putin presented medals to soldiers who have fought in Ukraine on Sunday as part of ceremonies marking Russia's Defender of the Fatherland Day. According to Associated Press, the annual military holiday comes a day before the third anniversary of Moscow's so-called special military operation in Ukraine. Putin presented Russian soldiers with state awards for their part in the conflict, saying they were fighting for the peace and future of our people. Also Sunday, Putin laid wreaths at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Moscow alongside the country's defense minister Andrei Belousov.
Добрый день, уважаемые товарищи. Я приветствую вас и поздравляю с Днем Защитника Отечества. Участники специальной военной операции верны славным заветам наших отцов, дедов, прадедов, проявляя мужество. Вы стоите на страже России. Отважно боретесь за правду и справедливость, за мир, будущее нашего народа. Благодарю вас и всех ваших товарищей. Благодаря вашим усилиям мы достигаем поставленных целей. Страна гордится вами, вашими подвигами, вашим вкладом в дело защиты Отечества.